We got some massive news today that the developers over at Firaxis are internally playtesting ways to continuously play as one civilization through a game of Civ 7. Civilization switching has obviously been one of the most fraught and contentious aspects of Civilization 7, and I would like to humbly suggest and make some recommendations about how I would fix the Civ switching problem. To make my suggestions, we are going to be using Paint today, an app that I have not used in over a decade, and I am not an artistic person, so let's see how this goes. Alright, well, first things first, let's divide us into the three ages of a game of Civilization 7. Boom, that went spectacularly well. We've got our Antiquity Age, our Exploration Age, and our Modern Age. Well, that's not going as well, but we're getting there. You get the point. Right now in Civilization 7, you have a leader. So that's going to be our smiley face boy right here. That is our Civ leader. And your leader and their abilities and whatever stay with you through the entire game. Your Civ, though, which I'm going to illustrate with a building of some kind over here, currently does not, though. You get to these age transitions, and then boom, big red X, that Civ is no longer. You need to then pick a new Civ for the Exploration Age. Same thing happens here. You go through the Exploration Age, and boom, you hit this kind of checkpoint again, where you now have to pick a third Civ. These checkpoints seem to be what's causing the problem. Now, I'll admit I actually quite like this system. However, from what I understand, it's a bit immersion breaking to have to change your civilization kind of arbitrarily at these deadlines in the game. Seeing as the deadlines in the game don't seem to be going anywhere, let's see if we can solve this problem. Now, in their post, they reference that they're looking at finding ways for you to take one civilization, so you can just pick your civilization and play it through an entire game. Now, that does kind of solve the problem. You do get rid of these arbitrary checkpoints. You can just pick a Civ and play through the entire game. You keep the immersion, you keep your abilities, whatever. Awesome. This is also just how every other Civ game has worked. Leader, Civ, goes through the whole game, etc., etc. However, seeing as we are still going to have these age transitions, I think we can be a little more creative, but keep the same spirit of this idea. I'm going to call this first suggestion additive transformation. Sounds a bit wild, but here's what I'm proposing. Obviously, we're going to keep our leader the exact same. They're not changing this aspect of it. You pick a leader, you get what you get, and you move through the game with that leader. In the Antiquity Age, we are still going to pick our civilization, so let's do that. At bottom civs, they make the rockin' world go round, but boom, we have picked a civilization. Give our civ a door so we can distinguish it from a unique building later. Now we have our civilization, and our civilization is going to have some abilities. Let's say this civilization is like the Inca or somebody with like scouting and mountain abilities. So we're going to have a unique unit. I don't know how to draw, so we're just going to go for another smiley face, and that is our unique unit. And let's say our unique unit is a scout. They're really good at scouting. They have some kind of scouting abilities. And let's say our unique building gives us a production adjacency for being next to mountains, for example. And then we have our unique ability. And let's say our unique ability is that we can work mountain tiles. We can place like the exhibition bases on top of them. And there, we have an Antiquity Age Civ. We got a unique unit that's good at scouting. We got a unique building that's like good. It gets some production if it's next to mountains. And we got a unique ability that allows us to work those mountain tiles. Pretty good early on, thematic, makes sense. Let's move on. Now, this is where the additive nature comes into play. Now, because we're keeping the same Civ, we're trying to eliminate this big X, we are going to continue to be the Inca. So instead of completely changing everything, I'm just suggesting that everything be additive. So you still get more, you still get something new, you still get something specific to the Exploration Age, but it's additive to what you had before. So you never lose anything here. All of this stuff still exists. We're just going to add to it to give it an Exploration Age flair. This helps keep the immersion of having the same Civ with the same types of abilities throughout the game, so it's not jarring. It's not like, whoa, what is going on here? Why am I something completely different? But it still gives you a little bit of a change throughout the game. What we don't want to do is have what we had in Civ 6, where sometimes you're a late game Civ, sometimes you're an early game Civ, and nothing much happens in the middle. We want to keep evolving over time. That's the part of this I think we like. So let's take our unique unit, our little scouty boy here. There he is, and when he's on land, he's still a good scout doing scouty things. Maybe he has extra movement or something. I don't know. He's a cool, unique scout. But because it's the Exploration Age and we're going to be going on the ocean, we're going to be finding new continents, let's also say that if he's on land, he still gets to be his same unique cool scout that we like, that we had in this age. But if he goes on the water, he gets to be a cool, unique scouting boat. I can't tell if that's a boat or like a golf tee, but there we are. So if our scout friend goes on the water, he becomes our new unique scout boat in the exploration age. And let's say it has a button that you can press that can see the treasure resources in a certain radius. I'm just spitballing here. It doesn't actually matter. The point is we've added to something. We've taken our scout, we've kept it. It's exactly the same. Nothing's changing. We've just added some exploration age flair to it. Then we have our unique building, which got production for being next to mountains. Our building is now a duplex for some reason, but let's say it now still gets the production from being next to mountains. Again, we haven't changed anything. But let's say it also gets food from being next to mountains and gives you 5% production towards wonders if they're next to a mountain. Maybe those values or those abilities don't make any sense, but you get the point. We're just adding to it. We're taking our production boost that we like from the early game, we're keeping that, and we're just adding to it. So now we're getting a little bit extra food, we're getting a little bit of extra wonder production if you're building them next to mountains, etc., etc. It's still thematic, it still makes sense. We're not getting rid of anything, we're just adding to it. Now let's take our unique ability. Before it was pretty basic. We could build on top of mountain tiles in the Antiquity Age. So in the Exploration Age, of course, we can still build on top of mountain tiles, but now we have a unique celebration that gives us extra something on those mountain tiles. Let's say we have a celebration that triples the yields of worked mountain tiles. We're keeping this exactly the same, we're just adding to it for the Exploration Age. Then in the modern age, we're going to do the exact same thing. I don't want this video to be longer than it needs to be, so we're not actually going to do it, but you get the point. Then we'll keep these two abilities and add a third one, and keep these two and add a third one, and keep these two and add a third one. That way your civilization is evolving and growing over time. All of these breakpoints in the game are still meaningful, they're still fun, they're still exciting. You can still have these in here, but things feel continuous, like you're working towards something, like your empire is indeed expanding over time. Now I quite like this approach. Seems to combine a lot of the things we want with a lot of the systems that already exist in Civ 7, just better utilizing the age transitions and the stuff that already exists within the game. Like other Civ games though, this is all locked in from the beginning, so you can see all this. You know exactly where you're going. When you hit the Exploration Age, it's always the same upgrades. When you hit the Modern Age, it's always the same upgrades. I think I might like this approach the best. However, let me introduce you to a second approach that I have. This second approach I'm calling adaptively additive. So we're here with the Inca, same as before. In the Antiquity Age, we got our unique unit, our unique building, our unique ability. Let's pretend they do the same things as the previous example. Now in this second example, we are still adding. We are not getting rid of any of this stuff here. We're keeping that through the entire game because that's kind of the point. In this example, though, it is not predetermined at the beginning of the game. You are actually going to get to choose this at each age transition point. I'm proposing something like upgrades and additions. This approach, I think, fits more with what they were going for in Civilization 7, where over time, the priorities of your empire might change. Let's say we're playing the Inca, and we started with all these mountain abilities, and that's awesome, and in our first couple of cities, we have a lot of mountains, we make the best use of them. But as we explore the map, maybe we don't have a lot of mountains. Maybe we get to the Exploration Age and realize we actually have a lot of like ocean and lake tiles in our empire. Still want to keep the mountain stuff for the mountains we do have, but now we have some options here. If we don't have a lot of mountains, maybe we're looking at additions. What new abilities can I add to my civilization to make them better for this age that we're in? Like I said, maybe we have a lot of ocean tiles and a lot of lake tiles and not so many mountains. So maybe we want to choose an addition that gives us bonus gold for ocean tiles or lake tiles. These additions can be anything. They can kind of be locked to the Civ, so each Civ always has like 8 to 10 different additions to choose from. Maybe they're locked to achievements within the game, or if you discover, 50 coastal tiles or whatever, you get the coastal edition. Doesn't really matter. The point is, we're still able to pivot the priorities of our empire based on this system. In our first example, it was like mountains, mountains, mountains. Maybe there's enough mountains for this to work in the early age, but we want to kind of change priorities. That's where these additions come in. Maybe we have tons of mountains though, and we want to like keep going down this path. That's where the upgrades come in. Instead of adding something new, I can choose to upgrade my unique unit, or upgrade my unique building, or upgrade my unique ability. Let's say there's 3 upgrade options and 5 addition options, right? And let's say you can use 3 points. So you can choose 3 upgrades, 3 additions, 2 upgrades and an addition, 2 additions and an upgrade. None of this is exact and doesn't really matter too much. I'm just trying to illustrate the point. In this system, you would hit the age transition, keep exactly the same stuff. You could either upgrade it and really double down on what you already have, or you can make some additions. Maybe this is a new unique unit, or a new ability, or a new unique building. That's part of the fun of getting a new Civ, is they have new unique buildings, and they have new unique units, and all of that. That stays the same in this part of the system, where you can choose to add things to your civilization as you grow, as you explore, as you expand, or you can choose to upgrade the things you already have. And you can imagine we'll do the same thing in the modern age as well. In any case, those are my 2 suggestions for kind of keeping the spirit of Civilization 7 alive with the age transitions in the game, while also creating a system that isn't just like take Civ throughout the whole game, because I think we're a little bit past that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what your solutions are to this problem. It is clear that Civ 7 will not be able to kind of rapidly expand its player base until it does solve this problem. However, I think we can be more creative than just pick Civ, play throughout the whole game. I think we can do something cool like this in either of these 2 examples, but let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.